interesting because, Spotify like paid Joe Rogan like $100 million to have an exclusive
Holy
deal.
shit.
And they paid Alex Cooper from Call Her Daddy like millions to have. So Spotify paid millions and millions of dollars to get these exclusive deals, and they still pull less views on podcasts than YouTube, which was really surprising to me because I consume all my podcasts on Spotify. And I just I don't even think of YouTube as a podcast platform.
Yeah.
Like now I do, and I was always aware that like podcast clips were there, but to me it was just not even in my idea. But I guess because so many kids are growing up, like they're just so familiar with YouTube, and that a lot of people don't post video anywhere else. So Spotify allows you to post videos if you have the right distributor.
Right.
But since YouTube lets you post videos, I think a lot of people like to watch podcasts when they're doing work or something, and they just throw it on in the background and they see you.
I like the YouTube videos, like the podcast where it's like you're in or something, like they're interviewing like a really cinematic setup.
Yeah.
'Cause I always like the lighting.
Dude, I need to upgrade my cinematic setup. I mean, mine's like
the lights.
low key as it can be. All right, guys, welcome back to the show, Respectfully Inspired with Aussie Films. Today, I'm here with Jonah Richards. Jonah Richards is the founder of REV Video Productions. He is a student at San Diego State University. He is an almost pro tennis player. I don't know if that's fair.
That far, yeah.
Go ahead and introduce the REV Video Productions and yourself and everything you do.
Yeah. Do you want to talk to the camera or you?
Oh, just talk to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I started REV a year ago with Ismail, who you know. I've been doing photo video for like 7 years. I'll start from the beginning. So my 8th grade was like super like hippie small school.
Yeah.
And so we had to do a project all year. And like the beginning of the 8th grade school year, they're like, you got to pick one thing and all year you focus on it. And so my mom suggested I try photography. Yeah. So that was my project for the whole year. And so I got like a little Nikon, like went out, started taking nature photos, like just doing photography. I got really into it, especially with nature photos because I live in NorCal. Yeah. It's really pretty. At the end of the year, like I made like a book of like all my photos, and like I printed it out, and that was my project, and I like fell in love with photography. So then in high school, I went to a like really artsy high school, and I was in the film program. So I made a ton of films. I kept doing photography. I did freelance. Like I got really into it. That was like my thing. I was always shooting any gig I could do, like nature photo shoots, everything. And then I applied to college for that because I wasn't really sure what else to apply for. I was interested in finance, but like...
So is that media or?
Yeah, like film production.
Okay, film production.
Yeah, so I've been doing like photography, videography for like 7 years or so. Yeah. But I always wanted to like start like a business, like have like a real like business around it, like make a lot of money, bigger clients, bigger projects, like go to cool places and just like film, you know, better, cooler things. And I did a lot of freelance in high school, as I said, like random stuff, like music videos, shows how everyone starts. But then last year when I met Ismail, like one class, like he like ran up to me after class, we did class together. Yeah. He like ran up to me and he was like, you know, like introduced himself. He's like, yo, I'm Ismail. Yeah. Like I've seen your Instagram, like I just want to talk to you. And I was like, who the fuck, you know, I was like, you know, what's up? I was like, yeah, let's talk. So like met up for lunch the next week and we like totally hit it off. We just started like, we just like had the same kind of energy, you know, we both wanted to start a business. We were super ambitious. He was interested in film. And I think like the second time we hung out, I asked him if he wanted to start a real estate videography business. Yeah. And he was totally down. And we started doing research and there's a huge market for it in San Diego. It's like over $100 million market just for shooting videos and photos of homes in just San Diego alone. It's crazy. So we didn't know that back then, but we just started kind of doing what we could and reaching out to people and making our logo and just kind of starting. That was about a year ago, exactly, or 11 months ago.
You guys have grown quick.
Yeah, so that's kind of how we started.
Dude, that's so interesting. You know what I love about your entrepreneur story? It's the same thing I love about a creator camp, my other friends' entrepreneur story, is that there's someone, like one niche is so not saturated. So for example, in this case, real estate. The amount of times I've heard someone being like, I'm going into real estate, or I'm going to be in real estate, or I'm entering the real estate market. And it's like, you're coming into the same market, but instead of competing against everyone, you're doing the video for the agents, for the properties. And that, just by making that one switch, you're in the market that everyone else wants to be in, but you have like infinitely less competition.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, we go to conferences and like, you know, meetings and seminars and stuff all the time that we're filming for realtors, and there's 100 realtors in the room, and there's a couple guest speakers who are realtors who are successful, and they're talking to a room of 100 realtors who are like selling basically no properties. They're very few, and all of them are trying to do the exact same thing. They're all trying to find clients. They're all trying to scrape leads for people who are trying to buy or sell homes, which is not an easy audience to find. And yeah, I mean, I feel like it kind of goes back to like, have you heard like that quote about like the like gold rush, where it's like it wasn't the miners who made all the money, but the people who sold the shovels?
Yeah, that's like that.
I feel like if you can find like a popping market that like there's huge potential in, if you can be the people that like supply something to everyone in the market, or like provide some service that's like necessary to everyone in the market, and you're really good at it, like there's so much potential. So, you know who, I want to jump in and explain the creator camp example, because I think that's so big right now. Is that everyone wants to be a creator. They surveyed kids, the #1 job in the world is to become a YouTuber, the #1 most desired job. Who knows how that will pan out when they actually, like the kids right now who've been surveyed, I don't know what grade this was, 5th, 8th grade, whatever, your #1 desired job is to be that's crazy.
A YouTuber.
That's crazy.
But you don't even have to wait for them to grow up. I mean, everyone's trying to be a creator. I think I'm in a biased view because I'm just around creators all the time, so I feel like literally everyone's doing it. Let this plane go. But something with the creator industry, like, no one would deny it's so saturated. You go on TikTok, you can endlessly scroll, Instagram, YouTube. You could watch content for the rest of your life and still have more.
Totally.
But what Creator Camp did, my friend with his company, is they started throwing in-person events for creators to meet other creators. And I think it's so genius because one of the assumptions that comes with creators is because they have followers, they have friends. Because they have followers, they're popular, they're connected. But in reality, followers oftentimes does the opposite, because first of all, a lot of your potential friends think that they're not worthy to be your friend. They're like, oh, I couldn't be friends with him. He has 1 million subscribers. I'm not going to bother him. I'm not going to annoy him. So then a lot of your potential friends don't think they can be your friends. And then a lot of, like if you're at like a school or something, a majority of the people you're around aren't creators. So then you feel isolated and alone. And I mean, everyone knows this, like, as you get more famous and you have a bigger company and you're doing more work, you have less time for people, and YouTubers do some of the most work. And so they're actually some of the most lonely people, even though people think they're so like connected. And he essentially just said, hey, you guys don't fit in your environments, in your schools, and now you can come to this place and you can meet like-minded souls. And his company is taken off. And I think there's some statistic as in like 95% of all first companies fail. And like, you guys are doing pretty good, they're doing pretty good. And I think, what is it? It's that you're entering like one of the most popular niches, but you're doing something different. And I'm even trying to figure out how I'm going to do this. And I have an idea, which I'll tell you right now, although I think I'll bleep it out, is podcast trailers. So people mimic the top. And at the top is, like, if YouTube, let's say YouTube, for example, is Mr. Beast. So if you go on YouTube, you're gonna, not everyone obviously, but a majority of people are editing their videos the same way Mr. Beast is editing their videos. Because the goal is that I want to be successful. I don't know how to be successful. So I look at the top. Mr. Beast is the best YouTuber out there. He's editing his videos this way. If I want to be successful, I should edit my videos this way. Now, I don't think that's good for a number of reasons. I think you'll end up doing something you're not passionate about. You can't be better at being Mr. Beast than Mr. Beast. But the point is that people want to mimic the top. The fastest growing podcast right now, Diary of a CEO, the way they've become the fastest growing podcast is they do these podcast trailers. And they hired a Disney movie editor to edit these podcast trailers. But So like essentially like when you go to look through podcasts that have guests, so podcasts that are not about a certain topic or they're not about like co-host, it's like guest podcasts, you're going to scroll through and you're only going to listen to the ones of the people you know.
Yeah.
But what their trailers allows them to do is that even if you don't know the person, you watch like a cinematic movie trailer and you're like, oh, Jonah Richards like started this company. He has this crazy story. And then you can be sold on the guests that you don't even know through these podcasts.
That's cool. Yeah. Like a movie trailer for podcast.
So it's freaking amazing. I mean, I'll show you some of them after. But the issue is that they're too complex for like VAs or Fiverr. At this point, they're not able to edit them. And so people want to copy them, but they can't do it. And I think there's like 3 million podcasts out there, but and all these people want to copy the top, but they can't do it. So I'm like, what if me and Joey, you just met Joey, the guy I'm working with, if we start a podcast trailer service so we can sell to the podcast, but I can also benefit from it. I have all the connections in the industry. So that's kind of where I've been inspired by you guys.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I love it. I think, I think if you can find that, like, that thing that is different than other people are doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the other, like, most important thing with starting a business is, like, you have to, like, everyone says it, but, like, if you're not providing, like, a significant amount of value, like, actual value, you're really not gonna get anywhere. Because I feel like that, it kind of ties back to everything. Like, if you're really helping people and you're providing, like, something that's super valuable to them, like, it solves, like, all your problems from, like, you know, clients coming back, leaving reviews, sharing it. I mean, paying way more than a client who sees you as a commodity. Like, so I think it's a super cool idea.
That's something interesting. I have like I have no worry that I will sell something invaluable. I actually have too much worry because like I was telling you, he just came to an entrepreneurial event we threw in Joshua Tree and everyone had to pay $100 to split this Airbnb.
Yeah.
Bro, I was so insecure that someone would come and they would not feel it was worth it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I consider it stealing if you sell something that you yourself wouldn't buy. That's how I really feel like if I'm going to sell something, it needs to be something that I would buy that I think is valuable. And so just the idea of like, oh, if these people split an Airbnb and like they don't feel like this weekend was life-changing, like I'll be like insecure about it. So when you keep telling me it was like helped you.
It's so funny that you say that because like I was like $100 for an Airbnb, like that's like so worth it. Like it's like we're spending multiple nights, like a whole weekend for $100. I'm like, that's a great deal. Like even if I hate it, like going into it, I was like, even if I hate it, like $100 just have a new experience that like I hate is still totally worth it. Like, it turned out to be amazing. Like I met so many cool people. Like I'm still in touch with like everyone from the
dude. That's amazing.
From the trip. Yeah, it was so fun. It was so much fun.
And then the goal's the same with the Creator Camp goal. Is that like I know you as an entrepreneur. Like I would say I kind of weave the line between entrepreneur and creator, but bro, you're surrounded like by these college students and these frat kids, and their number one shared interest is either good grades or going to parties, and then you pick this entrepreneurial path, and entrepreneurship specifically is opposite from school. School is getting a degree so that you can get a job. Entrepreneurship is building your own job. So they're literally like essentially opposites. And then when you take that path while you're still in school, it is lonely. Like it straight up is, because not because there's anything wrong with entrepreneurship, but because you're tied to an environment where the shared interest is not your main
totally
love.
I will say like the last year has been like so much fun. I mean, it's been like super rewarding for sure. I mean, not monetarily because we haven't paid ourselves yet. Like I'm completely broke. Like our company is doing really well. We tripled our revenue this month from last month.
Wow, congrats.
We're gonna do at least that, if not double, this coming month. Like we're doing amazing. We just had our first full-time employee yesterday.
Dude,
so wow. But like I'm completely broke. Like I literally like yesterday I had to transfer money because I had 79 cents in my account. I was filling up gas and like the gas stopped filling at like $6 because my account maxed out. Like so like it's really funny. And like the other day my roommates, we were all talking and we were like booking a flight for a trip. And I have 6 roommates and they're all like we were just like joking around. They're like, how is Jonah the most broke one in this house? He's the only one that actually has like a job. And they're kind of joking, but still, like, I don't know where I was going with this, but I think just like, definitely like the whole journey is like delayed gratification. Like you can't expect to see the rewards right away. If we were paying ourselves this whole time and not putting it back into the business, like we wouldn't be where we are. I know it'll pay off, but it's also like, it's tough. Like it's been a year of like, you know, of like grinding, like late nights, like missing parties, events, like missing time hanging out with my girlfriend, friends. Like, it's a lot of work. Like actually trying to make a company that works and is successfal and makes money. Like
I know
it's a grind.
Well, it's funny you say that because I started YouTube May 2019 and I was writing a letter to Gary Vee actually. So Gary Vee was doing a collaboration with Everbowl. So random. So Gary Vee is literally releasing an acai bowl in collaboration with Everbowl. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Because
that's cool.
The founder, Jeff Fenster, he's like in that entrepreneur space. So I think they just thought it would be cool. He's doing it with his NFT. Not going to go through the effort of explaining that to the audience right now, but he was the founder of Everbowl, lives in San Marcos, which is the next city over for me. So they launched the bowl together at the San Marcos Everbowl. Yeah. And so I went there and I was like, bro, I want to try to get Gary Vee on my podcast. So I wrote him a handwritten letter. I was like, I don't know if this is going to stand out, if he's going to read it, if he'll get back to me, but you know, you got to try. And in the handwritten letter, I wanted to assess how much work I had done without being paid. So I counted all the videos I ever posted since like May 2019. I've posted 607 videos.
On YouTube?
Total? Yeah, on YouTube. Well, YouTube alone, total. I imagine that at least 100 of them were shorts. So I probably posted 500 long form videos. 5 years, I've not made a single dollar off YouTube. So like, I'm so used to doing it. I've been done it for 5 years without making anything that I know, like, and I still enjoy it. It still makes me happy that I know that when the money comes, it's just going to be like such a nice bonus.
I agree. I think it has to be the bonus because if you think about it as like, that's what I'm getting out of this, then you're not going to get anywhere. It's just a different mindset. If you're working like a job, you know, anywhere else, it's like you're doing the work to get money, and then every 2 weeks you get a paycheck, and that's why you do it. But starting a business, like everyone says, it has to be about the process or the journey or whatever. But like it's so true because if you don't love the process, if you don't like genuinely love waking up every day and like going to your desk and making 100 calls or whatever it is, if you don't actually love that, like you're gonna do it for 2 days. Like, okay, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday comes around, you skip it, you sleep in or whatever. Like, if you don't actually love what you're doing, you're just not going to get anywhere because it has to be centered around the journey and the process. And you're right, the money has to be the bonus at the end of it. Otherwise, it's just, you can't build something. You're not going to spend that much of your life, that much time and energy building and grinding and hustling and missing events and things that you want to go to if you don't love it.
Well, then that's interesting because I'm thinking about that survey again of the kids, like YouTube being the most desired job in the world. People don't know like how much work YouTube was a lot of work before there was competition. And now there's like, it's one of the most saturated industries in the world, if not the most saturated, being a creator right now. And like I asked myself, when like kids keep saying like, I want to be a YouTuber, why? Because they don't all love it. That would just be statistically impossible for all of them to love it. And I think it's because in America, a lot of us get our identities from our career. When you meet someone, the first question is, what is your name? What do you do? And then based on what you do, it's not like you hate someone or you love them, but we clearly put a lot of worth on that question. And because of social media, we're seeing what everyone does. So we're like, oh, I have to have a cool career. And so I think that so many people want to be a YouTuber, not because they love it, but because of like, I don't want to say they're like addicted to fame because they've never even experienced fame, but like the status, they see that it's outward expressing. And they're like, oh, I want an outward expressing job. And it was the same thing when actors was the most desired job or when musicians was the most desired job. And
everyone wants to be well known. Wants to be famous. I mean, it's like,
it's just an interesting phenomenon. Even that I've had to question myself a lot on is like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And that's kind of why I switched. I was talking to Ismail about this because his co-founder used to be a YouTube vlogger. Is that when I was vlogging, I've had some very great moments vlogging. I don't want to like make it sound like a complete negative experience with vlogging, But something I noticed is that vlogging would take me out of the moment. So let's say I'm like hanging out with friends.
Yeah.
I would be like, oh, I want to vlog this. Well, now I'm like taking myself out of the conversation, grabbing the camera, and I'm like behind the scenes. Whereas podcasting took me into the moment. So it's like we wouldn't be having a deep, long conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked deeply at Joshua Tree, but
on this particular day.
like we're having this because I have a podcast. And so it's like the podcast has forced me to just have awesome, deep conversations. It's brought me into the moment. And I'm trying to like even reapproach vlogs with that same mindset. Is like, I used to always say, I don't vlog because I have an exciting life. It's not like I have this crazy life where I'm like, dude, I should just vlog it.
Yeah.
It's like I vlog so that I can have an exciting life. So that instead of just being like, oh, let's do nothing tonight. It's like, oh, I have to post a vlog this week. So let's go surfing, or like, let's go. So then you kind of have to live up to the vlog.
Yeah.
But that comes with its own fakeness and everything. That
I think that's cool if that's for you.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's cool if like you're committed to posting a vlog every week, and then because of that, you're like, oh, okay, I wanted to go do something exciting.
Yeah.
So like, let's do it. I think that's great. If it pushes you personally to go do cool experiences and go skydiving and travel to other countries and take strangers skydiving, I think that's amazing. But if it's because like, oh, I need like to make my life look cool for other people, I need other people to see that I have an exciting life, so I have to go do something. I feel like that's super fake. That's not sustainable.
But the thing is that I think when people like come to that, when they see that juxtaposition, I think they think that there's someone. They think that YouTubers are sitting there and they're either like picking one path, like, oh, this is where I'm this fake person I'm picking for my audience, or I'm doing it for me. In reality, everyone thinks they're doing it for themselves. And it's like the same thing when people say like, I know money doesn't bring me happiness, or I know like fame won't make me happy. And they say that, and you know that like they're not just lying as they say that, but then their actions don't align with it, because it's like one thing to understand something and it's another thing to like really believe it. It's like if you really believed money didn't bring you happiness, would you be treating your job exactly the same way you do it now? And that's like, I know I didn't intro the podcast, but I always say like, the goal of this podcast is to change the way people measure success from wealth metrics, which are money, possessions, achievements, and status, to soul wealth metrics, which I've labeled relationships and memories, because I think that relationships are ultimately what drive you happiness. I want to throw something at you and get your opinion on this.
Go for it.
I almost think that you could go through any desire and bring it back to relationships. So like, let me say this. Okay, so it's like, I want to have a podcast with 1 million listeners. Why do I want to have a podcast with 1 million listeners? So that I can have enough money to sustain me and my future family. Why do you want to have enough money to sustain you and my future family? Because I want a loving family, and if I love them, I want to support them. And then it's like, if you track it all the way back, you're like, it's like you want to be successful so that you can have a family. Or that, I think I'm being like nice about it. I think a lot of people who don't have girlfriends want to be successful ultimately because they want to meet like a cooler wife. And future Aussie here, I just want to ask you guys for a request. If you're watching on YouTube, could you drop a comment or a like or subscribe? And if you're watching on Apple or Spotify, could you leave a 5-star review? These things really help the show get discovered. And if you help the show get discovered, then I will continue to invest in better guests, in better product, in better equipment, and just make the show overall better. I just want, what do you think about that? Like,
I think it's interesting. I mean, I agree personally. Like, I think everything goes back to relationships. Like, I agree. I think everyone wants something because it eventually ties back to some sort of relationship or connection to people. Like, I think like the purpose of life is to like develop relationships with people and be close to people. I think it's all centered around other people. It's interesting. I think about this a lot because whenever I'm shooting like some of these like crazy houses, like 12, 15, $20 million houses, sometimes I'm in them and I'm just thinking like, I mean, like this is incredible. Like this is the most insane thing I've ever seen. 50-foot infinity pools and everything. But like, sometimes I think like honestly, this would mean nothing if you weren't sharing this with your friends. Like if you were there with like your family and all your closest friends and like all the people you love, I feel like it would just heighten that experience compared to being in like a tiny little like dismal house that's falling apart. same friends and family, but if you take that and put it in like a $15 million mansion, like it's probably gonna heighten that experience.
Yeah.
But wouldn't you rather be in that mansion alone or in that like shitty, little house with all your friends and family? Obviously the shitty little house.
Yeah.
I think anyone could pick that. Like if you have all the money in the world or house or whatever it is, like if you don't have people to share it with, it means nothing.
Yeah.
You're gonna be so depressed. You'd sit there every day like looking around like I'm so depressed right now. So like I agree. I think everything does tie back to relationships. I think that's what everyone wants.
There's two things that came to mind when you said that. The first is a story. So, you know, like Shaquille O'Neal is like one of the most famous basketball players, many championships. He was on some talk show with this football player who's considering retiring, and he was like, "Shaq, what do you think? Should I retire?" And you're kind of expecting Shaq, this multi-champion, to be like, "Give it another go." Like this guy's on a team that could easily win the Super Bowl, so it's like you'd expect him to be like, "Go give it another go." Yeah. But he said his answer was retire and prioritize your family, because he was saying that he's like, "Bro, I'm a champion. I have I can't remember, like 300,000 square foot house. Yeah. And I'm in there all alone. Like I got a divorce and my relationships went bad." And like, dude, it's Shaq. Like you see him on every commercial. Like he's an NBA champion. He's everywhere. And that guy has about as much achievements and money as you can have. And he was like, I would have rather traded a lot of this to maintain my relationships. The other thing that you're suggesting is, I think money and fame are an amplifier. So this was something that came up a lot in the podcast with Ismail, is that a lot of entrepreneurs think, okay, I'm working super hard right now so that I'll get to a certain point and then I'll not necessarily retire early, but I'll get to spend way more time with my family because I put in the hours now. So it's like, I'm working every day, every hour, but once I get to a certain level, I'm gonna not work every day, every hour, and I'm gonna like have way more time for my friends and family than those who are in a 9-to-5. But I think the issue with that thought process is that not that it's not possible. If you can get to a level and automate your business, and some people do it, like Tim Ferriss talks about that in the 4-hour work week, the kind of the digital nomad lifestyle. But I think the huge issue that I've identified with it is that if you train yourself to be someone who works every hour of the day, it is very, very unlikely that you're going to get to a certain money or achievement and then that you're going to feel differently about your lifestyle, because it's a habit. Every single day I wake up and work all hours of the day. So like we were just talking about feeling guilty for drinking. Yeah. I bet you feel guilty when you don't work hard enough.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
I feel guilty when I don't work hard enough. So you think that one day you're going to have success and you're going to be like, okay, I'm not going to work that hard because I want to spend time with you. You're going to train yourself to feel guilty when you're with your friends and family. Or like, and that was why I started the message of Soul Wealth, because I was a workaholic. What I think the most common, least talked about addiction in America, workaholism. And I found myself always being with friends, but being like, hey, I need to go. And there's nothing wrong with that. It is a good success mindset, but I realized, dude, like if my mindset is just that hours in equals productivity out, I'm going to like, one day I'm going to be the Shaq. I'm going to be the one.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I like, cause that's my mindset. Like, like you described, like I'm working really hard now so that later down the road I can not spend as much time. But I definitely have been noticing it more. Like, I guess I've been more aware of it lately, where like the last couple of days I'll, have 2 shoots. I'll make like all my calls in the morning, all my emails. I'll go to class, come back, like work more. And then at the end of the day, like a couple times this week I've come back and then I like finished everything on my to-do list and more. Yeah. And I've gotten all my work done, all my shoots, like I've done everything. But then I still find myself like falling back in the habit of like, I'm like in my room and I'm like, just like editing a reel on my phone, or like I'm just like, getting one more like email in or something, and I'm like, I'm enjoying it, but it's also like, no, it's like 8 p.m., it's 9 p.m, like let me go watch this movie with my friends. Let me go actually take some time off. So it's like hard to definitely break the habit. I think it's important to be aware of it, like, because I think it is possible to like build a business and work your ass off and then get to a point where you can actually take more time off. But I think you got to be really aware of it along the way. Because if you fully dive into it and you're like, okay, I'm working 24/7, no time, and then you do that for 5 or 10 years, like you're gonna be so like, you're gonna be so tied to that habit that I think it will be hard to break. I'm just trying to be more aware of it. And like, take time where I put my phone on Do Not Disturb and like for 2 hours, I'm just present with my friends or my girlfriend or whatever. And that's helped, I think, for sure, because it's trained me to tell myself, no, like these 2 hours, I'm not working at all. And I've gotten better at that. So I think having that balance is going to be helpful. And I don't know how it's going to plan out, but I hope that when it's time and when I'm making enough money, I can do that on a larger scale and actually spend a lot more time.
Well, I think awareness is definitely like the number one, like probably preventer. I think something else though is that like people look at their business and they think of success as like a milestone. Like when we're creating like $100,000 monthly revenue or whatever. But it's like, I think it's the same thing with your goals. You need to have monetary goals. That's something where I've lacked, where I'm like, okay, I think that I've held myself back from achieving or making more income because I haven't had monetary goals. Also, I don't know if you're like back's hurting, but you can like, if you put your hands here, it helps a lot. Like, so those goals are good, but I think it's too, again, if you're setting monetary goals in the future, you're not going to hit your monetary goal and be like, I'm good. You're going to set the next monetary goal.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
And you can see that. You just look at any thriving entrepreneur, Elon Musk, like a billionaire, and he's like, let me buy Twitter now. Let me do this. Like, you don't just stop. It's like ingrained. It's a habit. So it's like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to act like I've found it, but that's what I'm trying to, like, what would it look like if the goal was defined more so by your time? Like, okay, in 5 years, I want to be working 3 hours a day and spending the rest of my family. How, if you were breaking that down into micro goals, how would that look? Yeah. Would you be doing work the same? I don't know. And to be honest, I think the best entrepreneurs solve their own problems. So it's like, I don't know if like people listen to this podcast and they think like, dude, Ozzy's got like relationships figured out, but it's like, no, dude, I'm very much addicted to work and I'm trying to figure it out too. And I'm also trying to teach it. I think the best way to learn is to teach. But yeah, I like talking to people like you because it's like really interesting perspective.
Yeah, in terms of like the working and just like the goals and everything, like, I mean, like how I'm kind of looking at it right now is like, I wish our world wasn't structured in a way where we had to where money was a thing and like it's so important. But like, it's just a fact that money like runs the world as much as we hate it. Yeah. So I think how I'm kind of looking at it is like, I'm just going to play the money game and I'm going to win. Yeah. And once I win, then I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. Yeah. But I need to play the game first and I need to win it. And I also have always like had just like that drive where I wanted to like achieve these things. So it's also not just like monetary. It's like this like vision I've had since I was like literally like as young as I can remember. Like I was having like little like lemonade stands. I had like a duct tape wallet business when I was like 8. Like, you know, I always just like wanted to like achieve these big goals and dreams. So it's like something I just need to do for myself to like get to the point where I can like buy the Ferrari and like a lot of it's totally materialistic. Like I totally admit that, like for sure. But I think I just like, I'm gonna play the money game. And once I win at it, then I'm like, and then I'm gonna focus more on other things. But also, to your point, like along the way, I don't want to lose sight of like my values, the people around me. So I think I'm trying to be more aware of that. Like I'm, you know, still trying to meditate every day. I'm still trying to like live my lifestyle in like a healthy manner, like eat healthy, go to the gym every day, which I do, and spend time with friends and family, like disconnected from my phone. And like, I don't want to lose sight of like my values and my friends and family and all the people around me. Like I don't think it's healthy at all to just dive into work completely and lose sight of like your health and your relationships and everything. Even if you can get more work done, I think that's stupid. So I don't want to lose sight of those things, but also like I want to play the money game and win it so that I can spend my time doing other things and also help other people. Like I want to be a part of charities older and do stuff like that. But it's kind of just like a fact that it's like money determines so much, unfortunately.
There's a lot of interesting things you said. I think you also are having a biased experience because you still live with like 7 of your best friends. Yeah. And you have a girlfriend and you're on campus. So it's like when I was in college, I was so eager to drop out because I just believed in myself so much, and I was like, the same with you, very, very entrepreneurial. I definitely think dropping out was the right decision, but not because of any of the reasons. When I dropped out, I thought it was the right decision because I thought like my time in school would be replaced for time in YouTube, and that would mean that I was going to hit all these goals, but I didn't hit any of them.
Right.
But what I was really not expecting was how like lonely the process became, because like you, I live with 7 guys. I never was lonely with them once because I was still a grinder, but you pop out of your room after grinding and you're just with your friends. They're just right there, and it's like the best thing in the world.
Yeah, totally.
And I was so eager to leave it because I wanted like this success, and that's something where it's changed a lot of my opinion. And also, Elliot Bisnow, he's a very, very successful entrepreneur, makes millions of dollars, has a summit series I was telling you about. This guy has, first of all, he knows everyone that you can imagine. Second of all, he's had the craziest experiences like all over the world. And someone asked him, Elliot, what's your favorite part about being an entrepreneur? And he could have said quite literally anything, but he said, my favorite part about being an entrepreneur is having co-founders. And that like moment shook me, because I was like, at the time I was doing YouTube, but everything was alone. I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to edit it. I'm going to do this. And just by having someone to do it with you, it's like you're sharing all the wins. I heard a Swedish proverb that says, a win shared is a double joy, and a loss alone is like double pain. So like, I'm probably boofing the actual words, but essentially saying if you have a win, you share it with someone, it's like double enjoyable. If you have a loss and you don't share it with someone, it's double miserable.
Right.
And I want you to tell them the story of like when you were doing your first cold calls, but you would be on Zoom. Because I feel like that really exemplifies the story.
Okay, so the first time that me and my business partner Ismail ever like got on a client call. So this was like a year ago. And this was like a month into starting the business. We had no clients, no revenue, hadn't done anything. We just had an Instagram account with maybe 20 followers. And like one realtor that we like DM'd, because we had a VA who was just sending like a DM today, like responding was like, sure, I'll hop on a call with you. And so me and Ismail were like plotting like, okay, what are we gonna do for this like big client call? And we were like figuring out how to do it. And we were like, okay, we gotta be in the same place probably. So she came over to my dorm room, my sophomore year dorm room. And we're like crowded in my little sophomore year dorm room with like a big like flag on the wall behind us, and like we're in my I bring like a chair from like the living room. Like he's sitting in like a kitchen chair like next to me. And we have my computer set up and we're like leaning it on the screen together. Like have you seen like was that scene from like Step Brothers or something? We're like in the screen together, like
it's funny.
And like we hop on the call, and like I forgot her name, but it was like Michaela or something. We're like, hey Michaela, like how's it going? Like REV Productions, and like we're both like on the same Zoom screen. And we don't do anything over Zoom anymore. It's pretty much all just like calls or face to face. But so yeah, we're like huddled in on the Zoom together, and we're like asking her questions and stuff. Like we have no idea what we're talking about. She said she does estate realty, which is like selling property after like people like pass away. So she's like, sometimes there's like outlines of like dead bodies in the floor, and like there's like rats in the houses, and we're just like, how the fuck are we gonna shoot these houses? Like what are we gonna be shooting? It sounds like a show. And then we didn't know what to quote her, and I think we heard we had to like anchor the price like her. So we're like, like how does like $4,000 a month sound? Is that kind of like what you're looking for? And she's like, no, like I get my photos for like $200 or something. And we're like, oh shit.
That's
like,
hilarious.
And then we're like, oh, actually, like it wasn't 4,000. Like it's only gonna be 2,000 or something. Like
like you doubled. Going back. That's so.
It went horribly. We hopped off the call, and I remember we both like. We closed the laptop and we both looked at each other and we knew we fucked up. We were like, oh, that went terribly. But we didn't want to like say that because it was our first one. So we're like, it's savable. It didn't go that bad, right? And we never got a call from her again. But it was like the classic, just like horrific first call.
But that's like, I mean, that story is freaking hilarious. So I'm glad you shared it. But what you said at Josh Ritchie that like I thought related so well to this message is you said at one point you would all three be on a Zoom call, like you. Ismail and then one of the other employees I don't know. and you would take turns cold calling someone. So it would be one person calling one client, but you would be there like giggling when they messed up.
Oh, yeah.
So then it's like if they win, it's like you're all there to be like, thank God we did the deal.
So yeah, 2 days a week, me, Ismail, and our sales associate, Oscar, we hop on a Zoom call, 9 a.m. Tuesday, Thursday, and we're all on the call, and then we go round robin. So we all our leads, and we each take turns calling. And yeah, you hop on the phone, and the other two people are there like watching, and like, if they ask for a certain product or something, like we're in the chat, like say this, and
that's so funny.
You know, sometimes they hang up and they're just like, don't call me again, and it's funny, and we're all like, oh, it's okay, I get it next time. But when we hear someone on the phone, they're like, yeah, like what's your luxury package? And the person's like, oh shit, and we're all on the call like, let's go, like, you know, like
because if you get rejected and you're just alone, it just hurts. You're like, oh gosh, that sucks. And if everyone's there and they're just all laughing with you, and you're like, bro, they're gonna ride it out with me. Like it's gonna be there. That's like something like I was so excited to onboard Joey. Joey's someone helping me build the podcast brand. It's not because like I don't necessarily know. Like I'm starting a company. Like you started a company. You don't exactly know how to lead employees. But it's like I want him there so you can share the wins. So like when I get a big podcast guest, it's not just me in my room being like, yes, I got someone. It's like, bro, I can call him and be like, dude, this guy's coming on.
No, exactly. I totally agree. I think Elliot Bisno, he's spot on with the best part of starting a business or being an entrepreneur is having co-founders. Me and Ismail call every day. I mean, we text each other probably every 30 minutes, 24 hours a day, pretty much. Like we're always in communication. And every time we close a client, in the last year, every single time we text each other like, all caps, I just closed a luxury package. The person's like, let's go, like 10 fire emojis. You know, like we're always like sharing those wins, and then when we have a big loss, we share it together. And, like we hype each other up. We're like, you know, it's okay, we'll get them next time. Like, it is the best part. And we also always talk about like, you know, like one day we'll be driving this Porsche GT3 together, and like when we do, it's gonna be like so much better than if we were doing it alone. It means so much more.
Dude, I mean, there's a few ways to approach this problem that we've been addressing, which is like, I guess, workaholism, to put it. Everyone says don't mix friendship and work. I don't think I agree. And it's interesting because like you and Ismail are friends because of work. Like you met up and then you realized you had the shared interest. And same with me and Joey. Like he was very entrepreneurial. I liked him when I met him, but then it's like, I think that people sometimes, definitely in bigger companies, they'll put this like barrier of like, I can't be that close to my coworkers because that's unprofessional. And that's like part of the reason I want to be an entrepreneur, because I want to be close to my coworkers. I want to be like a family, because that is like part of the solution to work. If you go to work and you don't feel like you have friends at work, or you just have casual acquaintances, then work is what you're going to do for the half of every day for the rest of your entire life. So I'm very against the narrative that you shouldn't work with friends. I think I love that you and Ismail are best friends, and I hope the same for anyone who works for me.
I always had this like vision of like, sorry, it's getting like really bright.
I know. I
can't see anything, but I've always had this vision. I'm just gonna close my eyes. I've always had this vision of like, of having a workspace and like a team that's just like so collaborative and like close. Like, I want to have this team probably 2025, maybe 2026. We'll see with REV. But I want to have a workspace in San Diego, like a very like open, bright, a lot of glass windows, like you know, workspace or office where, you know, a team of like 10, 12, like a pretty small team, but everyone like comes in the office every day, like so hyped, so energized, everyone's at the same wavelength. We've got like a snack closet with like all the snacks, all the like, we got drinks, the whole like gear closet, like editing station, the salespeople over there in their office, like, hammering the phones, and like I want to have like a bell that people ring when they close deals, and like just like have that environment where like everyone comes to work and they're so excited to be there, and like we've just kind of started like growing that, you know, with like you know, we have like 10 people in the team now, but only one full-time employee. Everyone else is contractor, part-time, but like we're trying to make our team meetings like fun, and everyone like hops on and shares something that they're grateful for, something that's going on in their life, a win, a loss, and like just trying to create like it's cringy, but like truly like a family. Like everyone like loves being there and like loves working together. And I mean, I think it's also just way more effective for growing a business. If everyone's like really wants to grow and like work together, like you're gonna grow so much farther. But also it's way more rewarding with people that you love.
Dude, I was really hoping that the audience would get some like entrepreneurship value out of this, and I think they did. So I feel great about that. I'm gonna ask you my outro question now.
Yeah.
It's getting bright. This question serves the purpose of re-engineering the way you think from that soul wealth perspective, which is when you die, like, what do you want people to say about you?
Mm-hmm.
And specifically, like that exact question. So what I mean by that is, like, let's say you died. What would people be like literally talking when they're like, oh, Jonah was this kind of person, he did this. What would you want them to say about you?
It's a good question.
And I know, like, I always feel bad when I ask people this question. It's like a question you should spend weeks thinking about, but it's like, all right, you have 10 seconds.
I think I have the answer. I would want people to say that I was somebody who took risks. I was somebody who lived my life to the absolute fullest.
Yeah.
Like, I did everything that I wanted to do. I guess I would want people to say that I was somebody who wasn't afraid of pursuing the things that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Or the experiences that I wanted to have. And I'd also want people to say that I was someone who really took care of everyone around me. I think like the most rewarding thing is like giving amazing experiences to the people in your life.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be able in a couple of years to like fly all my friends out to like the best vacation of their lives.
Yeah.
And just like have the coolest like
Dude.
experience for a week, you know? Like, I want to be the person that everyone was like, wow, like he really like gave a lot to everyone around him. Like he gave us like so many cool experiences and like opportunities, and was just very generous with like his time and money and everything, and also who like wasn't afraid to like take risks and chances and do the things that like I really wanted to do and experience.
Dude, I can't wait until there's another retreat with my podcast guests down the line. We're all balling. We doing some.
I know.
You have some connection with some $100 million property, and they want to host it, and we're just there.
Yeah.
Bro, it's gonna happen. I believe.
Oh yeah.
I believe it's gonna happen.
100%.
I will link everything he's doing in the description of this episode. Where can the people find you? Anything you want to shout or say?
Sure. I mean, REV Video Productions on Instagram.
Yeah.
Find our business account, jkr.photos, on my personal account. That's pretty much it.
If a client comes from this episode, please let him know, because that would be crazy. Most likely you're just going to get a lot of inspired kids, but if that happens, let him know. That would be crazy.
Yeah, if your field tour needs photo and video, give me a call.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Dude, thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much. That was amazing.
Give you
I appreciate it.
Cross hug. All right. Oh,
That was sick.
47 minutes. All right.